while we hold the Catholic Church to be divinely instituted as a matter of faith, one evidence of its divine institution is that no other institution conducted with such knavish imbecility would have lasted a fortnight, much less 2,000 years.
We're both Italian Catholic men, and I think we get a lot of bad misconceptions out there in the world, not only from other Christians, but in general. And so I just want to ask you a simple question. What does it mean to be Catholic?
What does it mean to be Catholic? It means to embrace the fullness of truth. Simply, it means to, this is not in any way to disparage people who have other ways of thinking about religion, but it means to accept the fullness of truth and to recognize that religion is not a matter of mere intellectual abstraction. It's not a matter of mere enactment to see the works that come as the fruit of faith. It is not mere philosophy. It's not mere history. It's not mere poetry. It's not mere allegory. It's all of it. And we're incarnational creatures. We live in time and space. We've got these bodies. We are, in part, our bodies. And our faith hinges on the flesh, as Tertullian would say. The pivot of history is the incarnation, when the second person of the Trinity, our Lord, takes on flesh and dwells among us, and then is really crucified by a real guy in a real place and time, and is really resurrected. And so the faith then is expressed not primarily in poetry, philosophy, but in journalism, in the journalism of the Gospels. And so Catholics believe that Christ instituted a real church at a real time and place with a real guy, and we can trace that guy and his successors all the way down in time to the Pope today and to the bishops and the successors to those apostles. And we believe, as Hilaire Belloc said, that while we hold the Catholic Church to be divinely instituted as a matter of faith, one evidence of its divine institution is that no other institution conducted with such knavish imbecility would have lasted a fortnight, much less 2,000 years.
Knavish imbecility. What a sentence there. I like it. You grew up in the church? Were you baptized?
I was baptized. I received all my sacraments. By the time that I was to receive my confirmation, I would have called myself an atheist. I was a punk 13-year-old who thought I was smarter than I was. I was taken in by the arguments of the new atheists, who were a popular publishing fad at the time, people like Christopher Hitchens, whose arguments appeal especially to precocious 13-year-olds and nobody of greater maturity. And I was an atheist for 10 years, and I came back into the church through a combination of, well, all through providence and grace, but directly from a guy who had been a cradle Catholic, then was raised more of a kind of mega church evangelical Protestant, and the arguments of a Calvinist philosopher who had a version of a Catholic argument. He was at a Catholic university, and some wonderful Protestant writers and some Protestant preachers, and then ultimately settled back again across the Tiber at Rome, sweet home.
I want to get your take on this, because I often get criticized for, being a Catholic, and they say, well, why do you spend all this lavish money on a church? And why do you spend all this money on this and that, whatever? And how I see it is that, one, I think, as you said, that this is, a world of flesh and blood, and these are things that are real. We really do eat the body and blood of Christ. And I think in the same way, like when you come into an office and that office is catered towards you doing work and being productive in the workforce, or when you go to a school, that school is designed to help you learn and to increase your education. In the same way, I think the Catholic Church does a really good job at creating a physical space that you can walk into that will necessarily help you reach the highest form of your faith and help you reach God in a very intimate way. And I think that that's a very good investment into the church and into the community and into our lives as Catholics.
And it especially benefits poor people, by the way. So far from the great cathedrals being a way of, depriving the poor and only benefiting the rich, is quite the opposite. You are giving a great gift to especially the people who could never afford to produce great art themselves or to commission great art themselves. And those cathedrals then lift your eyes up and your mind up to heaven. And so they're an aid to all of our prayer. You mentioned that you get criticized for being Catholic because the faith is a little too decadent or something like that. Too many smells and bells and art. But the faith is also criticized for the opposite, that it's too ascetic. that it demands that you deny yourself too much. And Chesterton made this observation once. He said that the faith is attacked for opposite reasons, that it's too anti-woman, keeps women in their place, but also it's a faith that only appeals to women. These churches are just filled with these women. And so what Chesterton concluded was not necessarily that the church is the real church, really are in possession of the truth, but either that the religion was really, really true, really, really false, that it had to be extremely one thing or the other. The one thing it couldn't be was just sort of middle ground or middle toast, that whatever the church is, it's extraordinary.